Hey fellas. Oh, that's a good cup of coffee. Hey, welcome to part 3, the final episode in the He-219 build, and I'm just glad to get this thing done. Oh my gosh, this model is cursed. It fought me up until the very last moment. It swallowed a pitot tube in the wing, so I had to make a new pitot tube, and now the old one's rattling around in there somewhere. So I'm glad to get it done. I think it looks cool from a distance. I think it looks cool right there. No, it's a cool looking plane, and to be honest with you, this kit requires a lot more patience than what I was willing to give it. So, somebody with a lot of patience and, could sit down for months months and months and try to build this thing and make it all perfect. You could do it. I'm not saying it's not buildable, but it's a tough kit for somebody like me that, I don't have a lot of patience for. I'm not going to spend like 3 months building a kit. So anyway, I started an Instagram page or account. Yeah, Instagram account. My buddy Darren Cook from the Grumpy Modeler and the Model Geeks podcast, he talked me into putting one up, and my kids kind of helped me with it because I don't really understand a lot of it, but I guess you post pictures on it. So I am on Instagram at Prime Model Works, all one word, if you want to check me out. I don't know. I don't know. But I posted some of my older builds on there, and I figure I might post some like in progress stuff of models that I don't make videos of. So anyway, I don't know. I just woke up. That's an awkward pause. Anyway, I don't really go. I was so frustrated with this. I didn't record any of it, and but I had some people ask me how I was going to paint the camouflage scheme. So I do show that. If you want to skip over that, it's like 9 minutes long. If you want to skip over that and just check out the model, I will put a timestamp here. Otherwise, enjoy the painting part, and then I don't know. Check me out on Instagram. I'm so excited. I'm all over the place. I just woke up. I have no idea what's going on. Hope you like the video and stuff. All right, fellas, so let's run through how I paint this. Now, I've got a wing here off of an old P47 kit, and the colors that I've chose to use are RLM 75, and then this pale blue-gray, which I custom mixed up. Now, these are Tamiya paints. I think I mixed the RLM 75 up a long time ago, and I forgot exactly what I used. I think there was maybe some khaki and some German gray maybe in this. I'm not sure. But it's somewhat of it's a dark gray with a little brown tone to it. And like I said, I can't remember exactly what I mixed up. Now with this light blue gray, I used XF19, which is sky gray, and a lot of white, a little bit of blue, and a tad bit of green, and I got this nice color. And again, I just did this by eye, so I don't have a recipe for you. So and I've decided in talking to the guy that I'm selling this model to, he wanted a certain camouflage pattern on there, and it's the dotted pattern. It's not the wiggly line pattern. And I went through my head and I did some research, and I found the best way to do this, to get the pattern that you see on the model, is I went ahead and I sprayed my RLM 75 down and got the entire upper surface that's going to be camouflaged. I got it painted at RLM 75. And then I take my blue-gray, and I've got it mixed up. You really have to be familiar with your paint and get it at the right consistency. I got my air pressure set at about, let's see, like 13 PSI, which is what I normally have it, with my Iwata HPCS, which has a 0.35 millimeter nozzle. And you really have to know your paints, what kind of paint you're dealing with, and get the right pressure. Now, I'm not really concerned with overspray because I'm gonna really tone down this RLM 75. So how I developed this pattern was I would come in here and I would work like a section at a time. It's because this is a big model and it's kind of hard to keep track of what you're doing. It gets away from you really quick. So what I would do, say like right along here, I would like just deal with this section on this side of the wing. And then I would start with like an S-type shape. And I would just go along and make an S-type shape. And I wasn't really concerned about how neat it was. And then I would make another type shape, and I would try to stay away from like making a pattern. And then I would come along and like maybe do like a straight line or a slightly curved line. And just kind of divide it up. Trying to not get a pattern going. So I would just continually try to divide up my patterns and section them off just like this. And then once I got something that I thought looked right, then I would just slowly start building up my lines and making them wider. And it would gradually, I would gradually get something that that I was happy with. Okay, so let's make a little one right here and then divide this one up again. Okay, so as I start to build it up, you can see how it starts to come alive, and then I can start shaping and taking away, making the little segments of the RLM 75 a little bit smaller if I want, just by widening my initial squiggly lines that I made. And what I want to avoid is like a set pattern. I want to make it look as somewhat random, but still be somewhat equally spaced out. So I'm trying to keep all my lines equal, the same thickness, similar thicknesses. But because I did different patterns, I'm coming up with slightly different shapes on my RLM 75 camo pattern. Now, when you get into like the actual model, it gets away from you really quick, and I did have to come back and touch up some places and try to fix some things I didn't think looked right. But that's basically what the pattern looks like. And you see right here, I want to come in here and stretch these out a bit. And that's how I did my pattern. So it doesn't look just like polka dots. Because I know sometimes, you know, I've done camouflage patterns similar to this where I've just sprayed the lighter color down and then came over top and tried to make the darker pattern on top. And I never can get it to look right. And I think this comes pretty close to getting what was pictured in some of the pictures that I've seen. So that's how I did that. Now, once I get this all down, what I did is I heavily diluted this, and then I came along, heavily diluted the light blue, and I just toned down the rest of the RLM 75 so it didn't stand out too proud. And I just played it by eye. Just come in here and just toned it down just a bit. Now I didn't dilute this in my airbrush, I'm just misting over it, but I did dilute it when I sprayed it on the actual model, just so I could control it a little bit better. There you go. That's how I achieved that the camo pattern. So for those of you guys that requested that, that's how I did it. That's a basic how I did this one. Whether it's right or not, I don't know. It seemed to work for me, and I like the results. So there you go. There's one way to do it. Well, here it is, fellas. And this thing has like 1,000 antennas on it. I actually, because I am going to probably end up shipping this, I do have like a bunch of antennas that go on the bottom that I didn't put on because I will break them off. This top antenna up here, I broke that off after I glued it on and the glue set up. I broke it off, so then I had to remake it with a copper wire. I cannot believe I didn't break these front antennas off. Now these small ones up here, those are just glued on with, just tacked on with PVA glue, with white glue, because I am going to ship this. I'm going to take those off the model, and the guy that's getting this, he can try to put them on himself, because those are going to break off in the mail. There's no doubt. And I didn't put on like a lined antenna. I think there's a line antenna that goes along here. This little thing, when I went to glue this on, I used, to me, extra thin. I stuck it in the hole, and as soon as I lifted my finger up, it fell out, and then it marred the window up here, so there were some marks, and I had to sand those out. It was a mess. Yeah, this was the pitot tube. This is brass tubing and copper wire that I put in there, and I made my own pitot tube because the plastic one just sucked. But I'd made another one, and I didn't have it as long, that you can see how long this is. And as soon as I put it in, it fell into the back end of the wing, and now it's trapped in here and it rattles around. So that's one of the features of this kit. You know, oh, let me tell you something else that happened. But there's a camouflage scheme for those people that are asking. The guy that wanted this, I think he wanted these a little bit smaller. And when I got into it, I'm like, after I got them done, I'm like, these should actually be a little bit smaller. These match what was on the box top, the size of these this camo pattern. and what was in the instruction manual. Basically the same size. But the picture that I'd showed him before, I think he wanted them a little bit smaller. So then I went back and I was trying to make them smaller and it just didn't look right. So then I had to paint over it and redo it. And I wasn't going to repaint the whole thing because the painting the camouflage pattern on this took me like 3 hours at least trying to get it right. And I kind of went slowly. But yeah, I'm going to break this thing off again. There we go. There's the bottom. I did some weathering, and now the pre-shading I did, if you watch the painting portion of the video, what I did was I had my primer sprayed down, and then I sprayed the RLM 75, the dark color, over top and right along here where all the camouflage pattern was going to be. And then I just pre-shaded the rest of it with the RLM 75. So then there's a little bit of pre-shading there. You can kind of see some of the panel lines are darkened a little bit. But I just used the RLM 75 to do my pre-shading. But there we go. And it's got these little like exhaust covers, which, you know, it's kind of cool. It helps hide some of the crimes. The propellers come off. It's like that. And they spin, but I mean, I don't know why that would really matter. I guess just posing it. But yeah, there it is, fellas. I'm sure there's some other thing. You can hear this rattling around. Listen. Oh, there's my pitot tube. Yeah, that's the pitot tube in the wing. What else? Oh, these flaps right here. There's the way they attach to the plane. There is not very much surface area, and it'd be okay if I didn't have to ship it, and I could just like super glue those on there. It would be fine. But the way they're on there, I had to glue them on really good with Tamiya Extra Thin, and it broke off during weathering. And I had to glue it back on, and I used sprue goo to glue it back on, and there's a little bit, it oozed out a little bit, which, you know what, piece of crap. And then while I was doing some weathering, this edge of the tail disconnected because it doesn't join on there real well. So then I had to use sprue goo on that, and then it oozed out a little bit, so I had to try to hide that. But anyway, I'm kind of rambling. There we go. The base, I did that based off of back in World War II. They had these like aircraft recognition posters where they would have a bunch of different planes and the silhouettes of them, so you'd be able to recognize what type of plane they are. So I just took that idea and then made one for the He-219. And that's it. And if somebody asks me where the pilot is, you know, and some models like this, I don't put pilots in them, even though they're in flight. And I know that bothers some people. But my idea is you go to the Smithsonian Air and Space Museum and you see planes up in the air in flight, you know, hanging from the ceiling, and they don't have pilots in them. So it's kind of like that little, that's how I justify it. And the guy that I built this plane for, you know, I've built him a lot of other ones, and he preferred that there wasn't a pilot in it. So yeah. All right. Well, I'm going to flash up some pictures and let me know what you think.